Hi everyone, I'm really happy to be back with this new video, and in this video I'm going to share with you my messages for the spring equinox in particular. And I've entitled this video The Great Reset, and I will explain to you why in just a moment, but mainly because there is this huge energy arriving. There's this huge portal coming up, which is the spring equinox, which is very close to the new moon, which will be in Aries. And there's also a lot of planets that will be in Aries during this new moon, this equinox new moon phase. And so this really generates an opportunity for a total rebirth, a total, let's say, healing and a great awakening. I like to say that during the winter time we are in our own cocoon. So the cocoon of our home, of course, but also our inner cocoon. And this cocoon, I like to call it the alchemical cocoon, because even though there's not a lot happening during the winter time and we may see that everything is calm, on the surface, there's a lot going on inside, and there's a lot of transformation going on. And when we become aware that there's this transformation going on, then we can really pinpoint certain aspects of ourselves that we were unconscious of. So, or maybe just things that we were conscious of, but we didn't want to see, we didn't want to look at. And of course, these aspects, we can call them the shadow aspects. But this winter time period really allows us to explore these aspects in order for them to be dissolved and transformed and healed. Then we are now in this phase where we start feeling that there's movement again inside of us. There's this spring energy coming. And so it's like, this fire energy is rising, quietly but surely. And just as, a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly inside of the cocoon, then the butterfly has to find this strength and energy to actually push, the cocoon away from his wings so he can, step out of the cocoon and start flying. And that's the phase we are in right now. That's the energy that we are feeling right now. It's that we really need to dive deep into ourselves to find that strength, that energy. And I've been going through these past couple of weeks through a very transformational phase. Sometimes it was pretty difficult, and other times I have experienced things like I have never experienced before, mystical states that I have never experienced before, and they were very blissful. And I know that I'm still trying to stabilize that energy, so I still wanted to remain in my cocoon, and because it was so nice. But I felt that it was time for me to step out and actually share this with the world, this energy with the world, because this spring equinox is coming up and we have this portal opening up, and I want you to be prepared so you can really take the potential of the energy and use it for yourself as well. And maybe you also have been in these past weeks in this transformational phase, and now it's really time to come out. Another aspect that is very present currently in the collective is, of course, war. Everyone talks about war. We're trying to scare people with war. But what is really interesting with that warrior energy, because it's not only negative, it's that it's inviting us actually to reflect on, first of all, what aspects within are still in conflict with one another. So often, there's this duality within us, this conflict between, dark and light, love and fear, our soul and our ego, good and evil. So, there's always this kind of struggle inside. And so the war energy that we can see in the collective is really inviting us to actually become aware of what is going on inside of us. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that it's also inviting us to connect to the warrior of light inside of us. We all have a warrior of light inside. And the warrior of light is going to really help us to move forward. It's going to help us also to feel that fire energy that we need really to connect right now so we can step out. And also just, kind of this feeling assertive, like this is who I am, here I am, take it or leave it, you know. And so that's inner warrior of light is really gonna guide us through this phase, so we can really try to, you know, to explore who he is, actually, you know, trying to find him within, but also trying to explore who he is, that warrior of light, because we all have one. And it's also going to help us to, you know, set boundaries with others. It's going to help us to find that willpower to act upon certain inspirations that we might receive, or certain, you know, hints that we have to move in that direction, not in that direction. So it's really helpful in these times to rely on that inner warrior. And that's really the invitation. So that energy of the inner warrior is very dynamic, it's very stimulating, but at the same time, it's kind of very grounded, you know? It's like the warrior is here, and he doesn't need to, you know, run amok or whatever, he's here. And that's really a very important aspect that we need to connect also. And to talk about now the great reset or the great portal that is occurring, we have to also notice that this spring equinox is followed by a new moon. This new moon is in Aries. There are about 5 or 6 planets in Aries connected to that new moon. And again, Aries is connected to war. It is the warrior of the zodiac. And it's connected, of course, to the god Mars. We are also in the month of March, which is Mars. So we really have, everything is about this warrior right now. The portal is opening up on the spring equinox on the 20th of March, and the next day we have on the 21st the new moon. And that energy is going to last until the 20th of April, where we have a solar eclipse, and again a solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. So really this period is all about, you know, this fire energy, this warrior energy, but also this energy of initiation, to reinitiate something. And the thing that is being reinitiated is actually ourselves, because this great reset is actually a great reset, an inner reset. And so it's almost like, I really feel that it's like a, you know, an inner revolution, because as I was talking in the beginning about these shadow aspects that we need to address, we also have, once we address those, we also have these other aspects of our soul that maybe we never expressed before, and they really are pushing right now to be expressed and to come out, so that we can really ground ourselves into these new energies. And this new energy of the new is actually the new you, it's the new us, you know, it's the energy of our soul. So this is what is going to be initiated with this great reset and these portals. It's really about renewal, rebirth, and initiating something new and expressing something new. So it might be something that we never had a chance to express. And that's why we will probably feel like we are new beings. Like, you know, we've never met ourselves on that level before, because there is this great opportunity for awakening, and there's a lot of light coming in. So again, very high energy, high frequency energy. So it's important just to remain grounded also during this time, but to just go with this flow of energy that's really calling for us to move forward and to follow this impulse, you know, of the fire energy. I'm going to talk about some astrological aspects as well, because they are so powerful this month and also next month that I just had to mention them. We have, of course, Saturn that just arrived in the sign of Pisces, and it's going to stay there for about 3 years. And that's a really interesting aspect, and I'm really happy about that aspect, because Saturn and Pisces are very opposing energies. They're not energies that go well together at all, because Saturn is all about structure, it's all about, you know, the material world, it's all about limitations, laws, sometimes a little boring stuff. And Pisces is all about, you know, it's the ocean of consciousness, it's all about imagination, spirituality, metaphysics, arts, etc., etc. So when the two meet, it's like, you know, how are they going to work together? But actually what's really interesting is that they're going to nourish themselves, one another. It's going to be really interesting, because what I feel might happen during this period is that there's going to be, on one side, us spiritual people, we will maybe find that it's the end of spiritual illusions. All the airy-fairy stuff, all the things that aren't grounded, because we are now grounding our spirituality into matter through this Saturn aspect, because Saturn is really connected to matter. And I also mentioned that in my 2023 forecast in January, that this year is all about, restructuring our base, so we can really ground ourselves and build on something solid, because otherwise, it's just melts away the next second. So Saturn and Pisces is really about that. It's about, bringing the spiritual, the ethers into matter and grounding ourselves. So this means that I think a lot of people who are, either therapists, mediums, shamans, or whatever, are going to maybe initiate something, like they're going to start their own business, for example. And on the other side, there's also going to be maybe a lot of spiritual aspects or metaphysics aspects incorporated into the structures of society. That can also mean, through laws. For example, maybe in some countries they will legalize some plant medicines. That can be an aspect. Or maybe they will bring more of yoga and meditation into schools. That can be another aspect. And because Pisces is also about, movies, music, maybe it's also going to, affect the music industry and the movie industry. Maybe we'll see more movies about spirituality, and the music's going to be more divinely inspired, and it's going to really carry that vibration that's going to connect us to the divine. So I really feel that there's a lot of opportunities with this aspect, and I'm really happy about it, and I think it's going to bring a lot of positive things to the collective, because slow planets like Saturn are connected more to the collective. These transits are very slow, so obviously they affect us on the long term and also collectively. And the other aspect that is also very interesting is that Pluto is going to pass into Aquarius on the 23rd of March. So again, Pluto is the great transformer. Pluto is also the destroyer, it destroys before it rebuilds and rebirths, like the phoenix. And in the sign of Aquarius is all about revolution. So we have two very powerful energies going on together. With that aspect, we can really expect a lot of radical changes in society, like really big leaps forward, and also a lot of truths coming out. And that's already happening. I've been watching what's going on sometimes, like in the news, or what's going on sometimes out on TV, like certain subjects that they talk about on TV or in the news that like 2 years ago, it was impossible, to imagine they would talk about that. But now it's happening. So that's really encouraging, and that's really showing us that we are really moving into very new times right now, where these changes are going to happen quite radically, actually. In conclusion, we are really facing this momentum of fire energy, of really this dynamic energy that is also connected to willpower, and which connects, of course, to the inner warrior. So we are invited to really find that inner strength and inner warrior within, so we can really take the opportunity to take a leap forward into our evolution, which is really happening with this spring equinox portal, until the eclipse in April. And what happens in the end when we do that is that we will feel a total rebirth of our being. It's almost like we are a new being in a new body, because we are expressing all these aspects of our souls that are so keen to be there with us, and so they just want to come forward. So let's just allow all these aspects to come forward and allow to be reborn with this energy. And I hope that you will take advantage of what's going on energetically during these months. So I will see you very soon. Take care of yourselves. Sat Nam.